Greetings, my dear friends. On this 22nd Sunday of Ordinary Time, Year B, we reflect on the theme, the law of God and the truth in religious practices. The main issue that Jesus' disciples are accused of in the gospel is for not keeping the hand washing ritual. The Pharisees asked Jesus, "Why do your disciples not live according to the tradition of the elders, but eat with unwashed hands?" First, we need to recognize that the hand washing ritual was not written in the Mosaic law and was not mandated to be executed by everyone. The only people who were obliged to wash hands before doing something were the priests, of course, when they were to offer sacrifice. That's why even till today, before the priest offers the sacrifice of mass, we go and wash our hands before we start praying, my dear brothers and sisters, and my sacrifice and yours may be acceptable to God, the Almighty Father. So by doing this, the disciples were wrongly accused, of course, because they didn't violate any written Mosaic law. It was rather a tradition that was orally transmitted. That's why it is well specified in the gospel. It is the tradition of the elders. It is not about a hygienic, hand washing, but rather that oral tradition that was passed on to the people, which was not well founded in the Mosaic law. But every religion has their own rituals. They do not only kind of strengthen our connection with the divine, but also make us to feel uniform, right? Everybody sit now, everybody stand, everybody kneel, everybody shake hands, and so on. That's like a uniform way of worshiping God, the importance of rituals. For example, if I ask you today, why do we sit at church? Why do we stand? Why do we kneel? You may not really explain why, but you have been doing it because you saw others do it and they taught you how to do it without knowing what is behind all these rituals. And also, you can see your wedding, you are married in the church. You don't know how come is the married, the Christian liturgical celebration of matrimony. You don't know how it come to be, but you do it because others did it, and also you want to do it, right? That is how uh, rituals kind of strengthen our connection with the divine. So Jesus was not against the law. Jesus was rather against some misguided devotions that instead of strengthening our relationship with one another, with our God, they become a heavy burden. That is exactly what Jesus is trying to say. Look, the most important thing is not this ritual in themselves, but the message they are trying to pass across. When the word of God takes root in us, everything becomes a religious practice. We do everything accordingly and we celebrate our life even as we live because the word of God, as spoken in the second reading, has taken a deep root within us and it fashioned our life. We turn instinctively to God. That covenant law becomes a sacred religious practice, and we cherish and we are filled with the power that saves us. So Jesus then teaches us that observing the law and the tradition is not an end in itself, no, but it is an indication of where the heart lies. External actions reveal the internal desire to remain faithful to our God and to strengthen our relationship with one another. Jesus calls us to the true purpose of the law. The true purpose of the law is a heart centered on God. Being faithful to the outward practice of religion does not define our total commitment to God. No. Uncleanliness, as we know, or purity or impurity are not determined by anything external. Real defilement originates from within. It is in the human heart that all evil desires are hatched. Laws become ends in themselves when we forget their real purpose. It is far easier simply to keep the law than it is to understand the purpose and to make its spirit part of our value and of our orientation. So, my dear friends, as we celebrate this Sunday, may we always ask for the grace of God that we may not always fall into the temptation of walking according to the letters of the law, but rather to walk according to the spirit of the law, and also that we may avoid that ability to have in us a double identity, that is, speaking about God and acting against God. May the good Lord bless you all. Happy Sunday and remain blessed.